Hello, and welcome to myfinancesteacher.org. Something's happening on the markets today, so I want to make a quick video looking at S&P 500 and gold. Looks like S&P 500 is bouncing today. The markets are going to open in another 12 minutes. This is the S&P futures before the markets open. Looks like there is a bounce today. The bounce is already equal to about 5% within today on the futures market. I think the markets are very oversold, as I've mentioned in some of my recent videos. We had a failed attempt to enter the markets recently because we've been stopped out of that attempt. That is normal, as I mentioned again in my previous video. Here today, I think I'm going to take another attempt with entering into the markets, because I think the risk-reward ratio is, again, very attractive, and sometime I do want to enter the markets, especially at the time when the markets are so oversold. If I place a stop somewhere about the open price of today, that's about 4.8% risk level, and over the next several weeks, say a couple of months, or maybe even longer, we might retest very interesting levels on S&P 500, but I think one of the possible resistance zones that we might jump up to is at least this recent low that we saw at the end of February. Even if the economy stays in the toilet for a while, and even if that drags the markets down a little bit later, we should still see a bounce at least up to that recent low, and that gives us a reward of around 21% and a risk-reward ratio of about 4.3%. So I think it's a very attractive opportunity right now. So once the markets open in less than 10 minutes, I'm going to jump into the markets. I'm just letting you know about this in advance. And another thing I want to have a look at today is gold. Gold is amazingly strong. As I mentioned in my previous video on gold, I was expecting some sort of a bounce in gold, and we are having a bounce, but after that I was expecting a continuation of the intermediate cycle declining phase, since the current intermediate cycle hasn't been long enough yet, and I was expecting a lower low below this recent low of about 1450. However, at the moment it looks like gold is pretty strong, and there is a small chance that instead of a normal 6-year duration for the ongoing intermediate cycle, we actually might have had an intermediate cycle finish within slightly over 4 months. That is not impossible. That is a likely event, especially given the news that we have from the Fed. Looks like Fed is pushing everything up, and Fed is signaling an unlimited quantitative easing. So infinite amount of money are to be printed over the next few years to push the markets up, push everything up. And if that dollar is printed into infinity, what do you think will happen to the value of that dollar? What do you think will happen to the value of hard assets such as gold, such as silver, such as Bitcoin, such as land, property? I don't want to go into the details of the recent announcements because I want to keep this video short, but generally multiple trillions of US dollars are going to be printed and injected into the economy. So with all of those multiple trillions entering into the market, even if we see gold break down and continue into the normal duration of an intermediate cycle, in the long term, I think all of these hard assets, the assets that are impossible to print out of nothing, are going to do very, very well. So in my personal portfolio, in gold-related assets, as I mentioned in some of the previous videos, I was 10% in gold and silver miners. So I think today I'm going to add some more percentage to that, possibly another 30 or 40%, and I will leave 50 to 60% cash within the gold-related part of the portfolio, just in case if gold actually does break down over the next couple of months. That's all for now. hit that like button for timely updates, and good luck in your trades.